Hey everyone, it's Mike with It's Pittsfield Tonight. I'm going to jump right into it. And I'm going to start with yesterday's Coffee with a Cop that I attended at the Christian Center in Pittsfield at 193 Robbins Avenue. And this was the Pittsfield Police Department's Coffee with a Cop program. They've been doing this for a little while now. And for about an hour to an hour and 15 minutes, you can have a conversation with some of our officers and representatives from the police department discussing issues or if there's any questions you have concerning the Pittsfield Police Department. And I was so glad I attended this one yesterday because I think this is huge news, what I'm about to tell you. I believed it was. And as many of you know, body cameras is something that we have been discussing in the community for quite some time. And specifically, I've been discussing it quite a bit even recently on this platform. And where are we with that conversation? Well, I learned yesterday from Captain Kirchner that within the next 2 to 3 weeks, the Pittsfield Police Department will be implementing a pilot program where they're going to start testing body cameras on officers and working with different companies to see which ones are the good fit. So we're on a path to our police officers in our department implementing body cameras. And that was huge news. Very exciting news. Because again, I know this is something the community overwhelmingly, from everyone I've spoke to, has been in favor of. And I did have a chance to ask Captain Kirchner and Officer Weinberg about the overall feeling in the police department as far as officers. How did they feel about body cameras? And of course, he said he could not speak for everyone on the department, but it seemed the majority of the officers he spoke with are all in favor of it. So I think everyone is on board with this and excited about it. I know our incoming district attorney, Tim Shagru, he's our district attorney elect. Well, he will be after November, but I know through interviews I did with him during the campaign that he is in favor of body cameras. So I think this is something that's a big step for Pittsfield. And, there's a lot that goes into it. It's not as simple as just getting body cameras, throwing them on an officer, and off they go. There's a lot that goes into this. What type of body cameras we're going to use, how this will be implemented, like when will they be recording? Because you can't just throw a camera on an officer and say, well, you're on an 8-hour shift, or in some cases a 16-hour shift, turn your camera on. There's privacy concerns. There's privacy concerns with the citizens. There's privacy concerns with the officers. They have to go to the bathroom. They have to take breaks and lunches. They might go home. They don't want a camera on going through their house. So there's a lot that goes into this. What will be the right cameras, the right fit, how they will be activated, and of course the biggest part of this is storage of data, because that's the biggest expense, and there's a lot that goes into that because you'll have public records requests and all those things. So bottom line is, though, that ball is rolling, and he said most likely, he couldn't give a definite date, but within the next couple weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, that they will start working this pilot program, testing some of these cameras. So that's really exciting. I think that's huge news. And I'm all for it. I'm excited to see where this goes, but it looks like we're on a path to our police department implementing body cameras very shortly. So we talked about that in detail. We talked about homelessness and panhandling, which is something that has been a huge discussion, and the Pittsfield Police Department's role in that. And of course, nobody's trying to criminalize homelessness. And I think our police officers are exceptionally compassionate to those on the streets, but they see reality too. If you've been out there, you can't. It's funny when you have concerned citizens speaking up, say about aggressive panhandling, or people living in our public parks, which that itself has caused a problem with disposal of hypodermic needles, human waste. There's all sorts of reasons why people should not be living in the parks. I mean, there's laws to enforce that for a reason. And the underlying problem, in my opinion, is are we providing the adequate services? When our parks have that many encampments, then there's a problem. There's a problem with our services. I don't like the way our shelter is run, where people have to be out at 8 a.m. and they can't come back till 4 p.m. I keep saying that, but I really don't like that. Are we channeling those people into the right programs that they need? Is it people who, housing assistance, mental health treatment, substance abuse treatment, job training? What is it? I mean, are we working on this actively, or are we just sheltering some people and then out you go in the morning and continuing making this problem worse for everyone involved? But again, what I was getting at is, you can't, it's like at the last city council meeting, you had counselors saying we shouldn't be stigmatizing. They like to throw, that's the new political talking point now. We shouldn't be stigmatizing these people. I heard that, I can't tell you how many times. By the way they were discussing it, that's what they were doing. To say these people and rope all homeless people in homelessness, or however you want to say it, there's so many politically correct ways to say that now too, but to rope all of them together is stigmatizing and unfair and stereotyping. Every individual has their own story. Everyone's story is going to be different on how they ended up in that situation. You can't treat everyone the same from either side of that coin. From being compassionate to enforcing rules. I mean, every situation with every person is individual and different, and it has to be approached that way. So I don't like it when our local counselors or politicians or people in the community will throw that out there. We need to stop stigmatizing. Look, I don't think we are. I don't think anybody wants to criminalize those in homelessness, but you don't want to just be an enabler either. Meaning, and that's what we're doing if as a community we are not providing the adequate services to help these people transition back into a life that we all want and most of us have. Anybody just wants to live a normal life. But we need to identify those individual problems and get those individuals the treatment or help that they need to assist them to get back on the right path in life that they want. So, but anyways, we talked about the police officers' roles in that at the Coffee with a Cop, and there's not a lot they can do other than be compassionate, and try to get these people to get into a shelter for the night, but they can't force them. And if somebody's not breaking the law, they're not aggressively panhandling. I mean, they're banging on your window or grabbing you, all those things, of course, you can't do. Everyone knows that. If they're just standing there with a sign, you're protected under the Constitution. You have every right to do that. You can't do it on private property if that owner doesn't want you there. There's all those parts of it too, but it is a very complex situation. We all know that. But bottom line is, are we providing the right treatment? Are we getting people the assistance they need? I would say no, because this is the numbers we have in our community, we have a population somewhere around 42,000, maybe 43. It should be fairly easy to be able to figure out when you have a population of those in homelessness under 200. Well under 200 for what we know. So I will be putting together that volunteer group. I'm still working on that, and the amount of people that have offered to volunteer is over 50 now. So I can't thank you all enough, and I will be on that. That's going to take some time, but I'll be reaching out to all of you that messaged me. So those were the things we basically talked about at the Christian Center with the Coffee with a Cop. It was an hour, little more than that. It went over a little bit, and it was a great conversation. So everyone should be really excited about the body camera situation also. As far as we talked briefly about recruiting and the issues with that, and then again, we don't pay for a police department. We're one of the lowest paying in the state, I believe, and I'm pretty sure I'm right on that. And that's a problem. That is a problem. That we had, at least on the last council, you had counselors that were pushing to take money away from the police department. Well, I don't think you realize that pulling money out of something is not going to make it better. I mean, and I am a huge supporter of our police, but at the same time, do I believe there needs to be changes in law enforcement and how it's done? Absolutely. But that's on a legislative point. That's your legislators who do that. That conversation needs to be with our state reps, our state senators. That is where you start with that. If you want the laws changed, you don't defund a police department. That's going to do nothing. Nothing. So I hope we don't run into any of those problems again at budget season. And we need to be talking to our legislators as far as making changes on how mental health crises and things like that are approached. Because that's where you start with it. You don't start by pulling money out of a police department. That's not going to solve anything. That's going to make things worse. So, yes. So if you have a chance to, anyways, attend one of these Coffee with the Cops, they're great. It was very informative. I even got a very cool coffee mug. I don't have it right here, else I'd put it up. But it was great, and I wish more people would go to those. The other thing I do want to talk about, since we're talking about the Christian Center, they're always looking for donations of clothing and things like that. They help so many people. But coming into the winter months, they need winter coats, winter hats, winter clothing. And they definitely are in a desperate need for men's winter clothing also. All winter clothing, but men's they really need too. So I told them, look, the It's Pittsfield Tonight audience will step up. And I believe y'all will. So don't disappoint me on this. We need to get winter clothing to the Christian Center, and men's clothing, all clothing. But specifically winter jackets, winter hats, gloves, men's clothing, they have a huge shortage on. Let's step up. I know we can do it through this platform. Let's get that done in the next week and flood them with everything that they need. So Christian Center in Pittsfield, 193 Robbins Ave. I will also tag their Facebook page in here. If you can, anything you can do for winter clothing. Everyone must have something nice around, or if you can buy something new, even better, to donate, it would be huge. And yeah, so please, let's step up for that and show them how great this platform is. North Street, bike lanes, the whole deal. I've told you this a few weeks ago, and now I'm hearing there's talk of making some changes on North Street again, how we're going to park there, reducing size of bike lanes. They're going to more changes coming that what I heard potentially head-in diagonal parking. I remember when they tried that when I was a kid and the accidents that happened from it. But and they changed it back shortly after that because it was so bad. But that's the rumor. I don't know how much truth there is to that, but if there is, we broke that story here. I don't know how I feel about that. I just feel like this whole thing was done in a way that they didn't really have a set plan. They're trying this, trying that. You can't do that when people's businesses are riding on it, especially in this economy. Coming out of a pandemic was bad enough. But anyways, I'll be back on that. I'm still going to get up North Street to talk to some people. Every day I've tried to do it this past week, it was raining, so I will be on that. Watch for gasoline getting ready to go up again soon. Oil, like I said, I mean, everyone knew this was going to happen, and OPEC did announce that they were going to cut back on 1 to 2 million barrels a day. That's going to be bad. But as soon as that was announced, oil started heading back towards WTI, towards $90 a barrel, which is not going to be good going into, by the time I'd say end of November, mid to November, you're going to start to see prices go up again, heading back towards $4 a gallon. And that's just my opinion, but that's also the opinion of many on the market. Couple things I want to plug, and then that'll be it. The Christian Center one, again, we need to step up for that. The business tours, as many of you know, I try every day to help promote businesses in Pittsfield. I'm going to pick back up with that. The bar tour, I'm way behind on this year. I wanted to do that in September, and obviously that's not going to happen. unless someone can make a time machine for me. But I haven't forgot that. I'm going to start stopping by the bars that are going to be involved with this from the last one, and or they can message me. But I will be in touch with all of you. I'm a little backed up on schedule, so that's coming. And again, a lot of business tour stuff is coming. And I just want to throw a quick plug also for BCAC is hosting an Indigenous Peoples Day celebration at the Common in Pittsfield on October 9th from 11 to 4. So if you're interested in attending that, again, BCAC is hosting, it's an Indigenous Peoples Day celebration at the Common, which is Sunday, October the 9th from 11 to 4. All right, so that is it for now. Everyone, stay informed. You know, look out for yourselves, look out for each other. But stay informed, participate, get involved, and we can turn Pittsfield around like you wouldn't believe. There's a lot going on, and all it's going to take is community involvement to make those changes, especially with an election year coming up. So, all right, again, for the 100th time, that is it for now, and I'll catch you all in the next day or two.